Howdy y'all, welcome to Nerd Studio. We're out at the range today with the Eidolon holster from Raven Concealment Systems. Stay tuned. A few weeks ago, I did a video on the Morrigan holster, I think that's how you say it, from Raven Concealment Systems, and I liked that a lot. So I thought, man, I want to try one of their other products, and ordered the Eidolon holster, which is what we got here. I've worn it for a little over a month, I guess. This holster comes in several different packages, so you can start with the basic model that run you about 54 bucks. The full model, which is what I ordered for 94, and then a kit that comes with, I think, all the stuff to make it ambidextrous for, I just tell you, 144 bucks or something like that. It was up there. The differences are the number of doodads and things it comes with that allow you to adjust the holster. And so the full kit comes with everything I would ever possibly could have thought of. It was nuts, and I really couldn't resist it when I saw everything that it came with. The list is long. I'm not going to try and go through all of it here. Needless to say, this is the most adjustable holster system I've ever seen. You can wear it just about any location you would think of to wear a holster, and the ability to change the cant on it is, I mean, I haven't even tried all the positions. It's just, it's so adjustable. I tried 7 or 8 and went, okay, I've got the one I like. When you order the holster, you have to choose between soft clips or hard clips or soft belt loops. I went with the hard clips this time because there are times where I go places and I have to disarm for extended periods of time. And when I do that, I want to be able to take the holster off. But when I get back to the car, I need to put the holster back on while seated. And that could be sort of difficult to do with snapping belt loops. So I wanted to try something with clips to see if you know, I could get something that was easy to use in the car, but still, you know, felt really solid on the hip. The number of screws and bushings and grommets and thingamabobs this thing came with was, I mean, it was almost silly. Now, granted, I paid an extra, you know, 40 bucks for all that stuff. But I got my money's worth. It has every possible combination of stuff you could imagine and then some. So what I want to do is just sort of go over 3 major features that I've never seen on any other holster. Let's start there. The first is these guys. These are extensions. So you got a 10-hole, ooh, there you go, and a 8-hole extension. And what that does, you can actually use this on either side or both, where you'd mount the clips. So you mount it on there, and I'll try and get a closer look here in case that's washed out on the camera. What that allows you to do is you mount this to the holster and then your clip to the outside of that, and you get a couple of things out of that. First of all, it broadens the footprint of the holster, and so the wider a holster is, the less the more rotational stability it has. So the more narrow your clips are together, the more the holster is going to tend to do this on your hip. So if you can broaden that out, it's going to be more stable. So if you look at like one of the more large tuckable holsters, like you know, the King Tuck or something like that, they are very stable on your hip. Very almost no rotational instability at all. With the clips in this close, it's fine. It's riding just fine on my hip. But if you need that or desire that, that gives you the option to be able to do that. I've never seen that on another holster. Next up is this funky guy here. They call this a belt claw. I saw this when I looked it up online and went, I'm not really sure what that does. And I actually had to read the instruction manual really to understand what this was for. So what this does, they've got a couple of mounting holes right here on the holster. And so you put that guy, it goes just in like that, sink it down with a couple of screws. And then what that does is you attach it to your belt. That claw puts pressure on, I mean, it kind of half contacts my belt and half my pants, and it presses the butt of the gun into your hip. If you go back and watch the Morrigan video, that holster was designed to do the same thing. The way it's shaped, it pushes the butt of the gun back into your hip. So this gives you the ability, if the holster's not doing it for you, this gives you the ability to add an extra set of controls to the holster to push it deeper into your hip. The hole extensions can do the same thing. You can put those on, and it helps to push it back into your hip, even if you don't attach your clips to the outside. So they give you a couple of different ways to sort of make that thing suck into that natural hole in your hip where you need it to be. Now, for me and my size, the way my body's shaped, I tried it at first and discovered I didn't really need the claw. But I can tell you, it does work. You put that thing on there and you feel the holster sort of right into you. This holster really can be worn in any position, and that includes the appendix. And here's another unique feature of this holster. I've never seen any other holster offer something like this, and it's this little wedge. And basically, that's for appendix carry, although it can be used anywhere. And what you do is you attach it to the back of the holster like that, just using one of their quadrillion mounting screws. And that helps to lever the holster back in to your body so that the butt of your gun then is more concealable, which is kind of a common problem with appendix carry. Now, I don't carry in my appendix much, just with my Glock 43. But man, I've never seen another holster offer this many options for ensuring that your gun stays concealed. The clips on this holster are really well made. They're plenty sturdy. When you order the holster, you do have to specify the size of your belt, so 1.5 inch or 1.75. And the reason for that is they have kind of a J hook to them, so they're going to slide down, up, and under the backside of your belt so that they stay on your belt. And I've had holsters that have belt clips like this and had the holster come off when I went to go draw the gun, and that's not a good thing. So this counteracts that, but of course you do have to get that size right, otherwise it's not going to fit on your belt, or it's going to be sloppy if you've ordered them too large. It does have also a full height body shield, so that's what this guy is here, and that keeps sweat off the gun, and it also keeps the things like if you got sharp sights or sharp serrations or anything on the rear of your slide, it's going to keep it from tearing up your clothes and keep it from tearing up your skin, which is even more important. The holster, of course, like I said, it's really well made. All of the edges are rounded and smooth. The holster itself doesn't have it has a smooth exterior, so you're not going to have that tearing up your clothes or ripping up your skin. The workmanship here is obvious. The one place I think this holster might come up a little bit short is the retention system. So the way retention is accomplished with this holster is down here. You can kind of see the nut back here, or the screw up here. I'll get you a closer look. But where most holster systems, you actually adjust the holster with screws so that it clams like a clamshell up against the gun, which seems to work fine. But then your retention is against all of the gun, and so you've got things like holster wear and all of that. Not a huge deal, but they decided what they do with this is this puts all of the retention around the trigger guard of the pistol, which is pretty interesting, not your typical way of doing it. The one thing I didn't like, I'm used to my retention being really positive, and so I'm used to, during my draw, I expect to feel that thing sort of tugging on me. In fact, I kind of feel my pants come up when I do a draw on most of my holsters. In this holster, the retention is not all that positive, and I've got it cranked down as far as I can. Now, do I think you're going to lose the holster or lose the gun out of the holster if you start rolling around? No, it's not that. It's just I would like a little more of a positive almost a click when I slide it in. It's just what I'm used to. I don't think it's unsafe. It's just very different and maybe not my favorite feature of the holster. One thing to keep in mind with holsters that have a full height body shield like this, one of the features that I find that I really like in a holster is when they give you sort of a guide for reholstering. I have a custom holster from Glenn Jefferson that does this particularly well. It's really easy to reholster. When I go back in, you can feel the gun slide into place and go down in. It's really easy to train with. When they've got these full height body shields, they tend not to have that feature, and this one of course doesn't. So reholstering can be a bit of a pain. The other thing about the full height body shield is I find when I need to tuck in my shirt or something when I'm out at the range, I'm often catching my shirt and stuff on this. And in fact, occasionally I can go for the draw and find that my thumb has gotten behind the shield, which can be a bit of a pain. Now, I don't think any of these are an issue in a defense situation, honestly. I think if you train with the holster, you're going to overcome sort of that sense of putting your thumb behind the shield, and you're certainly not worried about reholstering when you're in a gunfight. You probably, I mean, unless you're going on a date afterward, tucking in your shirt is probably your last concern. So again, it's not a safety issue. It's not something I would knock on the holster for using it for its intended purpose. It's just I'm out teaching a class, or you're out at the range practicing your draw. It can be kind of tedious to keep having to muck with the thing. There you go. All in all, if if the retention works for you, and the full height body shield issues aren't a problem for you, which I would suggest they aren't, and you're looking for a holster that you can fit just right for you, I would challenge you to find a better option. The adjustability on this thing sort of makes it a home run. Now, you are going to pay for that. $94 isn't trivial. Although, it does start out at $54. You may not get all the adjustments with that, but it's still a high quality holster, and I recommend it. All right, folks, the Eidolon from Raven Concealment Systems. Nice piece of equipment. Always remember, anyone could shoot and have fun. We'll see you next time.